Welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be looking at action, fantasy anime called Chivalry of a Failed Knight. Stella Vermilion, the second princess of the Vermilion Empire, arrives in Japan after being accepted into Hagon Academy. Ikki Kurigane is a blazer, one of those special beings who can manifest their souls as weapons and have magical powers. He summons his blade in Tetsu as he practices his sword art. He is determined to be approved by the international organization as a magical knight. Ikki finds himself in trouble with the director, Kurono Shinguji, who aims to restore Hagon Academy's reputation after a few unsuccessful years. He accidentally walks in on his roommate Stella while she was changing, thus she cannot bear sharing a room with him. Kurono suggests they duel each other to decide who can make the rules. But Stella raises the stakes a little more, saying the loser will be the winner's personal slave for the rest of their lives. She is confident about being in a rank while Ikki is a mere F rank and fails all his tests. He has been labeled the worst one by his peers at school for his lack of magical skills despite his strong physical ability. However, he manages to defeat Stella in the duel even though she is a prodigy. Stella is impressed by his skills and develops respect for him as the two form an unlikely friendship, hoping to learn from each other and be stronger. The next day during class, their teacher, Yuri, informs them of the upcoming contests where the top 6 will be selected as the school's representatives in the 7-star sword tournament. Kusakabe Kagami approaches Ikki, saying she is a fan and wants to feature him in her magazine. Just then, Ikki's younger sister Shizuku, who has just enrolled at the school, arrives and passionately greets her brother. Stella warns her to stay away from him since siblings aren't meant to kiss each other. She announces to everyone she's his slave as she pulls Shizuku off him. Shizuku is furious and wants to free her brother of this bond by using her water affinity to defeat Stella, whose magic ability is fire. The two clash and cause quite a few explosions, earning a week of toilet cleaning as punishment by Kurono. Later, Shizuku warns Stella to stay away from Ikki because she wouldn't ever understand how he felt after being treated like he doesn't exist, and returns to her room to meet Arisu and Nagi, her roommate. Stella, too, goes to her dorm where Ikki tells her the story of his great-grandfather Ryama Kurigane, the great hero who led their country to victory. He aspires to be like him even though his family mistreated him his entire life for not being strong. They go so far as to use their influence to change the school's grading system so he couldn't graduate. Stella reassures him they are going to work hard together. Meanwhile, Shizuku sees a potential friend in her roommate who insists she should call him Alice as he has the heart of a maiden despite being a man. After training, Ikki and Stella discuss the battles for the school representatives, and Stella's first match is against Momotani, a third-year student. She wants to learn how to read her opponent's attacks and predict them just like Ikki does. She is about to ask him out on a date when he receives an email from Shizuku asking him to go shopping, and he agrees. Ikki, Stella, Shizuku, and Arisu go on one of the most awkward shopping trips ever. Stella loses it when she sees Shizuku holding Ikki's hand and curses both of them when Shizuku suggests Stella might have romantic feelings for him. They sit through lunch with Stella being jealous of Shizuku once more, and Ikki thanks Alice for being friends with his sister in private. However, while they are in the bathroom, two masked men enter and violently shoot with their guns, destroying the place. They have been ordered to take any customers they find hostage by their boss, Bisho. Alice and Ikki are hidden by magic since Alice can control and move around in shadows, and the two go look for the girls. Kurono contacts Ikki and deduces the attackers are criminals with a blazer who are demanding money, and she orders them to take care of the situation. Stella and Shizuku have been taken hostage, and Shizuku asks Stella to buy some time while she works on her plan to escape. Suddenly, their leader Bisho arrives and forces Stella to strip and apologize by threatening to harm the civilians. Ikki is desperate to help her, but Alice holds his shadow down as he waits for Shizuku, who activates a protective barrier around the hostages just in time. Ikki attacks Bisho and cuts off his arm, disabling him from using his judgment rings. Suddenly, a woman holds a gun to one of the hostages' heads and demands they free Bisho. However, she is killed by Shizuo Kirihara, another student, and they are saved. Kirihara mocks Ikki since they will be facing each other in their first battle, and he was the one who represented the school at the 7-star battle festival the previous year. Stella faces Momotani, also known as Heavy Tank, in her first battle and easily wins. Alice, Shizuku, and Stella are all victorious and in the locker room when Kusakabe runs after them again for more gossip since she's in the newspaper club. Stella returns to her room and finds Ikki trying to study Kirihara's attack pattern. It seems impossible to win against him since he uses complete stealth camouflage, but Ikki thinks he might have found a way to win. Alice approaches Ikki on his morning run, asking about his previous incident with Kirihara. He learns he had attacked Ikki the year before, and wishes him the best of luck. The next day it is time for Ikki's match, and Kirihara uses his skill area invisible to fire arrows at him from all directions. Ikki skillfully dodges the arrows and uses their source to backtrack his opponent's location. However, Kirihara is too powerful and, this time, announces his attacks before hitting Ikki. He turns the arrows invisible, thus Ikki is unable to dodge. He is knocked down and the entire arena mocks him when Stella shuts them up and encourages him to fight. He regains his spirit and uses his skill to determine the location of the invisible arrows and destroys them, much to Kirihara's shock. He has seen through Kirihara's ability, traces him, and unleashes a powerful attack, winning the match. However, he passes out immediately but wakes up in his bed to find Stella beside him and confesses his feelings for her, which she reciprocates, and they look forward to a rematch. Stella is frustrated that Ikki hasn't been paying much attention to her the past few days after the moment they share. However, he has just been busy winning match after match and moves on to his 5th victory. Hyusuke and a few other girls from his class are so impressed they ask him to teach them his sword skills. The boys in his class grow jealous of his newfound female company and gang up against him, but he quickly teaches them a lesson, and they admit they just want to be strong like him. Soon, more people join his classes, eager to learn his sword style and improve their fighting skills. Shizuku, too, refuses to learn from the Kurigane family sword instructor and insists that Ikki teaches her. Stella doesn't want to be too far behind and requests to be tutored as well, but Ikki refuses. She feels dejected, but he later explains her sword technique is too unique, and he is afraid he might ruin it. He invites her to accompany them to the pool for their training the next day to make it up to her. Stella is still worried about her relationship not progressing much in the past 2 weeks, but after some encouragement from Kyusuke, she finally confronts Ikki. She is relieved to discover that he, too, feels the same after a pointless argument with them screaming at each other. They share a kiss and receive notifications about their upcoming matches against student council members. Ikki faces Renrin Tamaru in his next battle, whose noble art is runner's high. Stella is up against Seiju Ikazuchi, whose ability is the accumulation of slashing weight. Both of them once more emerge victorious, defeating their opponents with great ease. Shizuku, Alice, Stella, and Ikki walk to their rooms when Stella is jealous of Shizuku, clinging to Ikki and furious when he refuses to push her off. Alice diffuses the situation by diverting their attention to Ikki's stalker, a girl hiding behind a tree. Ayatsuji Ayase admits she was too shy to talk to him directly, and he recognizes her father as Ayatsuji Kaido, a legendary swordsman. Ikki says he has learned much from watching footage of Kaido's matches, and Ayase tells him her father has been hospitalized after an accident in his last match. Thus, she has been following him around to learn sword tips. Ikki agrees to teach her and fixes her stance in just a few seconds after identifying the problem. She is immensely grateful to him and wants to become strong at any cost to win the selection battles and participate in the 7-star swordsmanship tournament. Stella, Ikki, and Ayase train together for the next few days, and Ayase treats them to dinner as a token of appreciation. At the diner, she is approached by a gang of boys from Tonru Academy, headed by Kurishiki Kurado, who attacks Ikki because he told them to leave. Ikki refuses to retaliate no matter how furious Stella is, since he needs to be careful or he will be expelled. Kurishiki gets bored of not receiving a reaction and leaves. Ikki receives an email about Ayase being his next opponent, and Alice tells him she might try something foul before the match. This is because she cannot afford to lose even a single battle to participate in the tournament and has no hopes of winning against Ikki. As predicted, she asks to meet with him, and Ikki is hopeful his friend will not sabotage him. Ayase calls Ikki to meet her on the rooftop of Building 11 in the middle of the night when she jumps off. Ikki is forced to use his skill, Edu's Shura, which he can use once every day, and she knew he would definitely save her. Ikki is shocked and extremely disappointed as he returns to his room and passes out on top of Stella. He wakes up the next day, and Kurono summons him to ask him about the damage done to the building. Instead, he asks her about Kaido's accident and discovers that his opponent was Kurado. This explains why he has been troubling Ayase, and she wants to avenge her father. The match begins, and Ayase instantly attacks him with her noble art, Scratch of Skill, inflicting heavy damage even before he has a chance to get close. She had filled the air with katana cuts even before the match. One by one she activates them, creating a whirlwind to cut Ikki. He had asked his teacher Yuri to ignore Ayase's cheating in the match since he did not want to give up on his friend, despite all her efforts to defeat him. Ikki was able to destroy her in a single strike after he had seen through her skill using his perfect vision. His main goal was to break her endurance and teach her the importance of fighting with pride and righteousness. He forgives her even though she betrayed him and promises to help her retrieve everything that her family lost in her father's last match. Ayatsuji Kaido, the last samurai, had continued to teach even after his accident and wanted his daughter to learn the ultimate technique, Teni Muhu. Ayase misses her father as she sadly sits by his hospital bed. Ikki, Stella, and Ayase study Kurado's profile since he defeated her father 2 years ago. He did not even need his device and used just his swordsmanship. Ayase takes Ikki and Stella to her old home, where he finds the group that troubled them at the restaurant. He asks them to take him to Kurashiki. Ikki challenges him to a duel, and Kurashiki summons his device, Orochimaru, and they start fighting as Kurashiki ferociously attacks him. Ikki tries his best to dodge and uses perfect vision to deduce his fighting style. He discovers it is Kurado's impossibly fast reaction time. Kurashiki attacks him relentlessly, and he dodges, prolonging the fight. Finally, he charges headfirst and retaliates with the ultimate technique that Kaido had been unable to use. Ice is shocked, and Kurashiki leaves after telling him they will meet at the tournament. Stella suggests Kaido would have enjoyed fighting such a strong opponent after being unable to fight for so long, and Ice feels as if she never understood her father. She is finally able to reclaim her home as Kaido regains consciousness. Ice admits to the committee she cheated in the match to take responsibility for her actions. Just before Ikki and Stella's next match, the director arranges a trip inviting them to the school's training camp in Okutama. Stella and Ikki encounter student council members at the training camp and engage in a not-so-friendly badminton match. Later, the vice president makes them clean up the camp for the training session. At last, they finish, so Ikki and Stella go sightseeing at the nearby waterfall. Stella gets tired while hiking but is glad they are finally alone. Shizuku, who is visiting home, misses Ikki and is summoned by her father. Stella has caught a cold by this time, and it starts raining at the worst possible moment. Luckily, they find a mountain lodge where they rest because Stella is sick, but someone seems to be spying on them. Shizuku's father tells her he is proud of all her victories. She mentions Ikki has the same record as her, but he doesn't seem to care about him. Giant rock monsters suddenly attack Ikki and Stella, but she cannot help him since she is sick. However, Seiju and Renren arrive to rescue them just in time. President Tauka traces the string used to control the monster back to its owner, attacking him with a lightning bolt. She was amongst the top 4 at the 7 Stars tournament the previous year and is the top knight at Hagen Academy. Shizuku receives an email that she is up against Tauka in her next battle. Alice, Stella, and Ikki discuss the recent events which have occurred, including their attack and Shizuku's upcoming match against President Tauka. Stella is worried about her since she is a water user, and Tauka uses lightning. But Ikki and Alice are certain that Shizuku's strong magic manipulation won't allow electricity to flow through. Shizuku is slightly upset that Ikki is worried about her since he wouldn't be as concerned about Stella since he knows her strength. Thus, she is determined to win the battle the next day and prove herself to her elder brother. A fierce battle begins, and Shizuku tries to trap Tauka in her ice while simultaneously attacking. Everyone is surprised to see a first-year student put up such a good fight against the president. Tauka slashes at Shizuku, who fails to see her incoming attacks and seems to be responding slowly for some reason. Ikki realizes this is the same move as Seikai Onin, one of the faculty members, which Tauka is using against Shizuku. Stella cheers for Shizuku, who is now determined to beat Tauka's invincible close range and go to the tournament with everyone. Unfortunately, Shizuku loses and is ashamed to face Ikki, but he is proud of her growth and skills. With her next victory, Stella has won all 14 matches along with Ikki. They are overjoyed to fulfill their promise together of securing their positions at the tournament. Hirono tells them about Akaza, a sly old man from the International Magic Knight Federation. He belongs to the Kurigane family and is currently working under Ikki's father. He is also the one who has been following Ikki and Stella around. The student council invites Ikki and Stella to accompany them to the children's institution. They are sure the kids would be happy to see a princess. Tauka formally introduces herself and seems quite cordial. Ikki is surprised to see her so friendly and caring towards the children. This helps him realize that helping others is the source of her power. Upon their return, Stella and Ikki are caught in an uproar. A picture of them kissing has been published in the newspaper headlines. Just then, Akaza Mamoru arrives and asks Ikki to accompany him to an interrogation by the Morals Committee. By this time, rumors about them have spread like wildfire. Days pass as Ikki is imprisoned and goes through several hearings fighting for his innocence and their relationship. Still, he and Stella continue to win their matches. He realizes all this time he had been looking for validation from his father. Finally, they have a chance to speak, but he is shocked to see his father has no feelings towards him and will never acknowledge him. Akaza sets up Ikki's final battle with Tauka, promising to end the trial and making him a knight if he wins. However, he'll have to forfeit from being a knight forever if he loses. Tauka summons Shizuku to suggest that she recommend her brother to forfeit because of his weak physical condition. Shizuku knows her brother and doesn't stop him from participating even though he is in no position to fight after weeks of imprisonment. The anticipation for the upcoming battle is intense, but Ikki is backed by everyone he had ever inspired. He is even more motivated by his promise to Stella as he enters the stadium for his final match. The fight begins, and both are excited to face each other. Ikki immediately starts with his Irushuru, knowing he has only one chance to strike and win. On the other hand, Tauka needs to dodge just once, but it won't be easy. Ikki puts his maximum strength into the attack, knowing he has been considered an underdog all his life, and shatters Tauka's sword, bringing her down. The entire arena is momentarily silent, but Akaza cannot bear Ikki's victory as he rushes to attack. Stella rescues him and the two lovers reunite. Ikki proposes to Stella, and she accepts as the two of them are now selected for the 7-Star Swordsman tournament. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon to get notified about our quality uploads.